Yeah, Ben, Jen, in one case, a Fairfield pub was shut down after health officials observed a large crowd outside with very few people wearing masks. The governor addressed that situation and, with the help of a doctor, put our COVID battle into perspective and explained the progress being made in treating the deadly illness. Nuvance Health CEO Dr. John Murphy joined the governor's briefing today. He detailed the progress being made in treating COVID-19, saying death rates within his system have dropped from 22% to 8 or 9. He attributed the change to advances in treatment protocols and the fact people under the age of 18 now make up a full quarter of new diagnoses. But he said advances in treatment protocols are also helping older patients.
We and everybody else who was treating this 6 months ago had more of a sequential approach to introducing interventions, and we're now giving everybody a whole lot of medications as soon as they arrive.
On the surge of COVID numbers in Connecticut, Governor Lamont talked about the possibility of implementing new regulations if necessary to contain and control the latest surge, especially with respect to bars. But right now, he said he wants to try stricter enforcement of current regulations.
Right now, I'm talking about enforcing the rules we got right now. Hats off to our local public health and municipal officials. They're taking this seriously. As you know, they have the right to fine. They have the right to shut these facilities down, at least until they make corrective measures. And we asked if he has guidance for families with out-of-state college students returning for Thanksgiving. He said it's on its way. We're going to give you clear guidance on what to do. I don't want people just getting on that plane, going home, potentially putting their family at risk and their friends at risk.
And by the way, back to the bars, the governor said he would like to see the Connecticut Restaurant Association step in and put pressure on bar owners to adhere to the state guidelines. Jen and Ben, back to you.